Absolutely. Here's section 1 of the script with 500 words, keeping it direct, emotionally gripping, and true to the theme of infidelity and betrayal. No unnecessary repetition or fluff. I used to believe that if someone smiles with you every day, listens to your pain, and holds your secrets, they could never be capable of hurting you. That belief shattered the day I opened my husband's iPad. Maya was my best friend for over a decade. We did everything together: college, heartbreaks, birthdays. She was even my maid of honor. When the pandemic hit, she moved into our neighborhood, just a few blocks away. Naturally, we invited her into our small social bubble. My husband, Rayhan, and she got along well. Too well, I thought at times, but I brushed it off as paranoia.
She was like a sister to me.
It started with harmless group video calls. Then the calls turned into private jokes I wasn't part of. They'd exchange glances, laugh at things only they understood. Still, I told myself, they're just friends. When Rayhan started sleeping in the guest room because of back pain, I started to feel something was off. One night, I couldn't sleep. Something told me to check the iPad we hadn't used in months. I wiped off the dust, turned it on, and there they were. Notifications syncing from Rayhan's phone. I froze. At first, it was flirting. Compliments, emojis, subtle hints. Then came the explicit texts, voice notes, and late-night calls where they spoke about me, mocked me. Maya wrote, "She doesn't even suspect a thing. I almost feel bad." Rayhan responded, "Don't. She's comfortable, not in love anymore. You're the one who excites me." I kept scrolling, nauseous. I found plans to meet in hotels during business trips. A folder full of photos, some of them intimate. One picture showed her in my clothes. She had stolen pieces from my closet. The worst part? The timestamp on a selfie they took, smiling in my kitchen, while I was out buying groceries for all three of us. I didn't cry. Not yet. I printed everything, laid it out on the kitchen counter, and waited for the morning. When Rayhan walked in, I asked, "Is there something you want to tell me?" His eyes flicked to the papers, then to me. He blinked, smiled, and said, "You're imagining things. She's your best friend." I looked him in the eye and replied, "No. She was your mistress." I sent copies of the chats to Maya. She blocked me instantly. Rayhan tried to talk his way out of it for days, but the trust was already dead. I filed for divorce within a week. People ask me what hurt more, losing my husband or my friend. I tell them, Rayhan betrayed a vow.
But Maya?
She buried 10 years of friendship without flinching. And that's a different kind of evil. I don't keep close friends anymore. Not because I'm afraid of love, but because betrayal doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes, it walks in smiling, holding a bottle of wine and says, "I missed you." Ready for section 2? Here is section 2 of the script, with 500 words, keeping it sharp, emotionally powerful, and without repetition. She said Alina was like her sister. "She's family," she told me. "Don't be weird about it." So I wasn't. I let them hang out, spend weekends together, even crash at our place after nights out. I trusted her. That was my first mistake. I'd been with Hira for nearly 2 years. We had plans, marriage, a house, even baby names. She was funny, smart, and had this way of making me feel like the only person in the room. But slowly things changed. She became more guarded with her phone. Started staying out later, saying she was with Alina. There were times I'd call, and Alina would answer, laughing, saying Hira was busy with girl stuff. I shrugged it off. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend. But a pattern started forming. Canceled dates, missed calls, excuses that didn't quite add up. One night, she left her phone charging beside me while she showered. Notifications started lighting up, messages from Alina. Something felt off. I opened one. Just one. And it hit like a punch to the chest. Did he suspect anything last night? Alina had asked. Not a thing, Hira replied. He's so easy to fool. It's kind of fun. My hands shook. I opened the rest of the thread. There were pictures. Private ones. Notes about how exciting it was to sneak around, Plans to meet when I'd be at work, instructions to delete chats. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a performance.
A game.
And I was the clueless audience. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to know how deep it went. Over the next week, I watched her lie to my face with ease. She'd leave in the morning in one outfit, come back in another. She'd call me babe after texting Alina. She was so done faking it. I screen recorded everything. Messages, photos, times, dates. I even recorded one of their calls when she left her Bluetooth connected. That was the final straw, hearing them laugh about how dumb I was. I invited both of them to my sister's birthday. Everyone was there, family, friends. I waited until dinner. Then I played the recording on the speakers. Their voices, their giggles, their filth. Hira went pale. Alina ran out. My mom cried. I just stood there, empty. She tried to explain later. Said it just happened. Said it meant nothing. I laughed. Told her she could keep her sister. It wasn't just infidelity. It was the humiliation. The lies told while holding my hand. The betrayal by two people I thought were mine. People cheat. That's human weakness. But to involve someone you call family? To build a relationship inside another relationship? That's not weakness. That's cruelty. I healed. Eventually. But I stopped believing people when they say, she's like a sister, or he's just a friend. Because now I know, the closer they are, the easier it is for them to stab you where it hurts most. Shall I continue with Section 3? Here is Section 3 of the script with 500 words, staying focused, sharp, and emotionally intense. When I let Sarah move in, it felt like the right thing to do. She'd just lost her job, couldn't afford rent, and had no family nearby. I had a spare room. I had space. And I trusted her. She was sweet, quiet, even a little shy. My boyfriend Adnan thought it was a bad idea. I should have listened. At first, everything was fine. She helped around the apartment, paid what she could, and always said thank you. She never got in our way. We had our life, and she was just there, background noise, really. But then, things started shifting. Subtle things. Adnan stopped being affectionate. Said he was tired. Stopped texting like before. Started staying out later. I blamed stress.
Work. Life.
But the timing was off. It started right after Sarah moved in. One evening, I noticed Sarah was wearing a hoodie that looked exactly like mine. I asked her where she got it. She said she found it at a thrift store. I brushed it off. Then I saw her wearing my earrings. She claimed they were hers. I began to feel uneasy, like something in my own home was turning unfamiliar. Adnan became distant. Snapped at me for no reason. Started locking his phone, leaving the room to answer calls. I asked him if something was going on. He said I was being insecure. One night, I came home early and found them sitting on the couch, too close, whispering. They jumped when I walked in. Said they were just watching a movie. I smiled. I didn't believe a word. I needed the truth. So I bought a small hidden camera, disguised as a phone charger, and placed it in the living room.
I didn't want to believe what I'd see.
But I had to know. 3 days later, I watched the footage alone. They thought I was at work. They thought I'd never know. I watched Sarah climb into Adnan's lap, like it was routine. I watched him kiss her like he hadn't kissed me in weeks. I watched them laugh, whisper, strip. I didn't cry. I felt cold, like my body had disconnected. The betrayal wasn't just sexual. It was personal. It was Sarah borrowing my things, stealing my routines, mimicking my laugh, becoming me in front of the man who once loved me. I waited until they were both home. Then I played the video on the TV. They froze. Sarah started crying. Adnan tried to talk, but I raised my hand and said, "You've already said enough." I told them both to leave. That night. No arguments. No begging. Just silence. The hardest part wasn't losing them. It was realizing I'd brought the betrayal into my home with open arms and a kind heart. I gave her safety, and she stole what mattered most. He didn't just cheat. He let another woman play dress up in my life while I was still living it. Since then, I trust slowly. And I never ignore the feeling when something isn't right in my own home. Ready for Section 4? Here is Section 4 of the script with 500 words, serving as the final reflective commentary. Clean, powerful, and emotionally resonant. Betrayal doesn't always crash through the door. Sometimes, it whispers in your ear, smiles across the table, and asks how your day was, while plotting how to ruin it. These stories weren't about strangers. They were about the people closest to the heart. Best friends, roommates, sisters. People allowed into private spaces, trusted without hesitation. And maybe that's what makes it so terrifying. Not the act of infidelity, but the ease with which it was hidden behind friendship. There's a special kind of cruelty in betrayal by someone you never expected it from. When a partner cheats, it's devastating. But when they do it with someone who knew your secrets, your routines, your fears, that pain rewrites how you see the world. It makes you question everything. Were the smiles real? The advice they gave? The hugs after your fights? Or were those all just parts of a performance, designed to keep you blind? You start to see memories not as they were, but as they really are, staged moments, layered in deception. Some say betrayal is just part of life. That people are selfish, weak, impulsive. But what these stories show is something darker. These weren't accidents. These were choices. Calculated.
Hidden.
Carried out while looking their victim in the eye and pretending nothing was wrong. The friend who sits across from you, knowing she's texting your partner under the table. The roommate who borrows your clothes while plotting to replace you in your own relationship. The partner who says, "I love you," then laughs about you in messages with someone you once called family. This isn't weakness. It's deliberate. And it leaves a scar that doesn't fade easily. For those who've experienced this kind of betrayal, the healing isn't just about moving on from the person who cheated. It's about rebuilding the ability to trust anyone again. It's about silencing the voice that says, they'll all do the same eventually. And for those still ignoring red flags, still making excuses for people who feel off, who cross boundaries too casually, it's time to stop. Trust is earned. Access to your heart, your home, your relationship, that's sacred. If someone makes you feel small, crazy, or overprotective for having boundaries, it's not love. It's manipulation. And it's usually hiding something far worse. Betrayal doesn't always wear a villain's mask. Sometimes, it wears your friend's smile. So, be careful who you invite close. Watch the patterns. Don't ignore that gut feeling. Because in the end, it's not just about losing love or friendship. It's about losing the version of yourself that still believed people meant what they said. And once that version is gone, something colder takes its place. Not bitter. Not broken. Just awake. Ask yourself this one question. Is the person closest to you holding your hand or holding a knife behind your back? You'd be surprised how many choose the latter. Let me know if you'd like this formatted for voiceover or translated/subtitled in Urdu or another language.